What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be reviewing It Chapter 2. I saw it last night at 9 o'clock. I did not get out of the theater until a little bit past 12. And then me and my girlfriend stood in the parking lot and talked about the movie for like 20 minutes. So there's plenty to talk about with this movie. Some good, some not so great. But let's get the positives out of the way first. Obviously, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is still Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He's freaking amazing at the role. Very creepy. Every single time that he was on screen, he just completely knocked it out of the park with, like, if you think about it, like, this is a really hard acting job. Sorry, my dog's right there. She came to say hi. Say hi to the camera, Rose. Now get out of here. But Pennywise, like, if you were an actor and the director was giving you direction on how to be Pennywise, it would just be, like, the hardest thing in the world. Like, I can only imagine, like, behind the scenes, Andy Muschietti would be like, all right, Bill, you gotta act scary, but you gotta act a little funny, too. You gotta act a little quirky, and you gotta act terrifying and menacing all at the same time, and my God, does Bill Skarsgård pull it off so well. I would have liked to have seen him more in It Chapter 2. He's in it, and he's definitely in the third act a lot, but, like, the first two acts were lacking Pennywise just a little bit, and I just kept on waiting for him to come out. And then, like, the scenes that he was in the first two acts, they were like 2 minutes. They weren't that long. I just wanted to see a little bit more of him. But then another positive is, obviously, you've heard, Bill Hader. I mean, he's fantastic in this film as an older Richie. He really pulls off the whole he's scared, but he uses comedy as a coping mechanism kind of thing. And Finn Wolfhard in the first one did it amazingly too. And it's the same thing with Bill Hader in this one. And he really does. He has these moments where he makes you laugh, and then in the next moment, he's terrified. But then the next moment, he's making you tear up and stuff like that. Because he does have a lot of levity in his acting in this movie. And he really does make you feel for his character for a lot of the scenes. So I was really, really happy to see that. All the cast members, the adult cast members of The Losers, fantastic job from everybody around. And James McAvoy too was great in this movie. Jessica Chastain was awesome. Everybody in this movie did a fantastic job acting wise and everything. I would have liked to have seen James McAvoy I don't want to say give a better performance, because he was obviously fantastic in the film, but I don't think he was given the right direction with some of his scenes in the film. He's kind of a little bit unlikable in the movie. Like, his character is a little bit unlikable for some reason. In my opinion, I thought he was. In the first one, Little Bill, he was very likable. He was, a kid, and you felt for him because he had a stutter, and he was, all that. But then as an adult, for some reason, I didn't feel for him as much as I did his character in the first one. That's just a little nitpicky, though. The first two acts have really, really bad pacing issues. This movie is 3 hours long, but I felt like there is at least another 30 to 45 minutes still on the cutting room floor that would have benefited the first couple acts of the film. It just starts, and then like 30 minutes into the film, you're sitting there going, this is moving really, really quick. And I just feel like they were just trying to rush some good character moments just to get everybody back to Derry so that they could defeat Pennywise. And so the first couple acts have a lot of pacing issues, in my opinion. So like, I wasn't going to bring this up, but John Flickinger, I just watched his review this morning. He talked about it. So if he can talk about it, I think I can talk about it too. I had no idea that Henry Bowers was coming back in this film. I literally thought he died in the first one. And so when he came back in this one, and he's an adult, and he's going on a rampage and everything, I did not like that at all. I thought that was such a dumb decision. I don't know if that happens in the book. I've only read about half of the book. I don't remember that being in the book anywhere. So if I'm wrong about that, then I'm sorry. I didn't finish the book. But that's just a story element that I thought was really, really weird. I did not like that. I did not like the way it went. And it just kind of was there, and then it ends, and then they just completely forget about it. I didn't like that at all. This movie is 3 hours long, like I said. Technically, it's like 2 hours, 49 minutes, but whatever. It's 3 hours long. I like to round up, but I was entertained the whole movie. I will say that for a 3 hour long movie that had pacing issues and all that, it moved pretty quickly. I went out of the theater thinking that it was never slow. It kept me entertained the whole time. But then once you really think about it, you realize how much fluff this movie has. It didn't need to be 3 hours. It did not need to be 3 hours. There's a lot of scenes where it just feels like they did... It felt like a Jackson Pollock painting, in my opinion. I think that's the painter. The splatter paint thing. The splatter paint guy. It felt like a bunch of scenes, especially in the first two acts. It felt like a bunch of scenes that were just kind of thrown onto the movie screen, and the editors and the producers and directors behind the scenes were like, oh, I hope it paces well, but it really doesn't. It just feels like a bunch of scenes that have no, like, structure to them. I mean, the scenes are fun. Majority of them are like, Pennywise wreaking havoc, and, but it just felt like there was no structure, really, to the first two acts of the film. The third act is phenomenal. The third act is what I wanted the first two acts to be like, in terms of pacing and characters and scares and everything. But the first two acts really, really have a lot of pacing issues. But yeah, definitely not as good as the first one. The first one, I feel like, is more condensed. It has more of a structured storyline that goes from A to B, then B to C. This one, it really feels like it goes from A to B, B to C, C to D, and then sometimes D to B, and then B to C. It's like, it's all over the place. And again, that could be because maybe the original cut really was like 4 hours long or something like that. But even then, a 4 hour long movie with that kind of storytelling, especially in this one, it just felt like it could have been, a lot of random scenes put together, or I don't know, maybe the 4 hour version works better than this one. And if it does, then I'd like to see that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on It Chapter 2. Definitely not as good as the first one. The first one definitely has more rewatch value. I can pop in It Chapter 1 and watch it, every October, every time Halloween comes around. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If I were to give It Chapter 2 a grade, I'd probably give it like a B-. I do think it's like go see it. Like, it's entertaining for the most part. There's a lot of problems with it, in my opinion. But yeah, I'd give it a B-. So yeah, if you guys have seen It Chapter 2, what did you think? If you're going to see it, how excited are you? Did you like the first one? I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Hello.